Millions of years have passed. Earth has gone through 4 ice ages and 4 interglacials so far. In each age, some changes occur in the body shape of animals that survive in warmer regions. This shape has occurred in humans as well as other animals. Java man and Peking man lived in the first phase of that ice age about 10 million years ago. Neanderthal skeletons have been found all over the world. However, the closest humans to Homo sapiens are the Cro-Magnon humans. During the Paleolithic or Old Stone Age, human life was a hunter-gatherer life, and during the Neolithic or New Stone Age, life was based on agriculture. During the Paleolithic period, people started to form clans and practice totems or religious beliefs. All the restrictions that were followed while practicing religion were called taboos. At the end of the Old Stone Age, people began to express their feelings through vocalizations and gestures. Then, in the Neolithic or New Stone Age, when agriculture became the main source of food in human life, people worshipped various natural forces. The story of human civilization begins with this agricultural era. In today's video, we will talk about some significant civilizations that were developed in different regions of the ancient world. 1. Egyptian civilization. Herodotus, the father of history, called Egypt the gift of the Nile because the Egyptian civilization was built around the Nile. The main deity of the Egyptians was the sun god named Amun. Egyptian kings, pharaohs, believed they were descendants of the sun god. So they are immortal, and because of this belief, they embalmed their bodies after death. Another god was Osiris, the god of natural energy, grain, and blue. Pharaoh Amenhotep IV introduced the practice of worshipping one god, the sun god, instead of many gods. He changed the name of the sun god to Aten and named himself Akhenaten after the name of the god. The Egyptians were good at making statues. The limestone statues of Akhenaten and Queen Nefertiti still seem alive. The name of Egyptian hieroglyphs is hieroglyphics, a name given to the Greeks, meaning sacred script. Paper was made and written from papyrus, a reed plant. Emperor Napoleon discovered the Rosetta Stone of the Egyptian civilization, from which the hieroglyphic language was later deciphered. The development of astronomy and mathematics was the first success of the Egyptians in the world of science. Also, the Egyptians are believed to have invented arithmetic and geometry because knowledge of geometry was essential in making the triangular pyramid. 2. Sumerian civilization. The Greek word Mesopotamia means the land between two rivers. Mesopotamia is bordered by the Tigris River to the east and the Euphrates River to the west. Among the many civilizations of Mesopotamia, the Sumerian civilization is the oldest. It was born around 3500 BC. The writing system of this civilization is called cuneiform. which was written on soft clay slates. A library of 4,000 clay slates was found in a temple in the ancient Sumerian city of Nippur. Although the Sumerians believed in many gods, they had no concept of an afterlife, so no mummies have been found from this civilization. Their main deity was the sun god Shamash. 3. Ancient Babylon. This civilization of Mesopotamia thrived in 2050 BC. This civilization was developed by a group of people from the Syrian desert known as the Amorites. This civilization was born under the leadership of Hammurabi, the famous leader of the Amorites. He is famous as a compiler of laws. Babylon has the Epic of Gilgamesh. The language is cuneiform. 4. Assyrian civilization. The city of Ashur was located on the banks of the Tigris River in Mesopotamia. Assyrian civilization developed around this city. This civilization was initially dependent on agriculture and animal husbandry. But with the passage of time, due to the increase in population, various crises arose in their daily life, and gradually they began to occupy and loot the surrounding areas. Later, booty became the main source of their economy. The Assyrians had a modern army for that era. They were the first to develop iron weapons, form artillery, and use chariots. A library containing 2,200 clay tablets written in cuneiform system built by the last emperor Ashurbanipal is found here. This civilization was destroyed in 612 BC after a period of 300 years. 5. Chaldean civilization. The Chaldean civilization is also called the New Babylonian civilization because it was developed around the city of Babylon. Emperor Nebuchadnezzar played a major role in building the Chaldean Empire, the final stage of Mesopotamian civilization. As the Hebrews rebelled against the emperor, Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the city of Jerusalem and captured thousands of Hebrews or Jews captive in what is known as the Babylonian captivity. Nebuchadnezzar's queen requested the king to build a garden. King Nebuchadnezzar built a huge garden on the roof of the wall that surrounded the city, which is now known as the Empty Garden of Babylon. Although not contributing much to other branches of science, their contribution to astronomy is outstanding. The Chaldeans first divided the week into 7 days and the day into pairs of 12 hours. Scientists of this era discovered 12 constellations, from which 12 zodiac signs were created. Their main deity was Marduk. This civilization was destroyed by Persian invasion. 6. Indus civilization. The city of Mohenjo-daro was built on the banks of the Indus, and the city of Harappa developed on the bank of the Ravi, a tributary of the Indus. Other ancient civilizations are profound with extraordinary architecture. but they were limited to the construction of religious institutions, palaces, etc. But in the Indus civilization, literally two pure modern cities were built. There were different types of roads, big and small, wells for water supply, drains for sewage, baths, drains and street lights on the streets, and defense system in the city. About 2,500 seals are found in these two cities, most of which have various symbols, portraits of animals such as bulls, buffaloes, etc. 7. Persian civilization. The Persian civilization extended from the basin of the Danube River in the north of the Arabian Desert to the east, and from the northern edge of the Black Sea to the southern border of Russia. There were two empires in Persian civilization, Median Empire and Persian Empire. While the kingdom of the Medes was luxurious and reckless, the Persians were idealistic and pragmatic. The famous emperor Darius the Great ruled this Persian Empire. Darius was a very intelligent emperor. Instead of wreaking havoc by conquering new territories, he adopted the good things of all regions. For example, the Egyptians' 12-month year and 30-day month counting system, or the Assyrian postal system. The Persians developed an efficient administrative system. A prophet named Zoroaster preached Zoroastrianism in the 6th century BC. The god of this religion is Ahur Mazda and the scriptures Avesta. 8. Hittite state. The Hittites of Asia Minor were the most skilled in iron making. From 1800 BC to 1200 BC, they made iron exclusively. Iron arrowheads, axes, spears, and other types of products are found in this region. This civilization was destroyed by the Indo-Europeans. 9. Chinese civilization. Mainland China includes the neighboring states of Tibet, Xinjiang, Mongolia, and Manchuria. 4/5 of China is covered by hills, mountains, and plateaus. Chinese civilization was developed on the banks of the Huanghe-Yangtze-Kiang River. The Chinese believed that dragons played a role in their prosperity. The different dynasties of China include the Huangdi kings, Shang kings, Zhou kings. Although they all belonged to Chinese civilization, each of them had some distinctive characteristics. Lao Tzu was an ancient Chinese philosopher. His thought was called Taoism. Confucius was the most influential Chinese philosopher. Ancestor worship was practiced among the Chinese. According to Chinese belief, the spirits of ancestors influence descendants, so they used to offer food for the peace of the ancestral soul. 10. Hebrew civilization. This civilization was developed in ancient times around the present Palestine region. Hebrew is a Semitic language. The people who spoke this language are known as Hebrews. The Hebrews ushered in a new era of world religion. They were the first to give the idea of monotheism to the whole world. This Hebrew civilization can be said to be the cradle of the religion of all Jews, Christians, and Muslims all over the world. 11. Aegean civilization. Greece and Asia Minor were separated by the Aegean Sea. The Aegean civilization developed on the islands of the Aegean Sea. Earlier civilizations were built around the rivers, but the Aegean was the first civilization to develop around the sea. In this civilization, two different cultures were developed called Minoan, centered on the island of Crete, and Mycenaean, centered on the mainland of Greece. The Aegean civilization achieved considerable fame in painting and sculpture. Aegean civilization fell at the hands of an invading Dorian Indo-European tribe. The inhabitants of the Dorian and Aegean regions lived together for a long time and gave birth to a new civilization, the Greek civilization. 12. Greek civilization. Due to the many mountains, Greece was divided into small parts and many city-states were formed. Mainland Greece had Athens, Thebes, and Megara, Sparta and Corinth in the Peloponnesus. Miletus was on the shores of Asia Minor. Athens and Sparta were the leaders among them. The Greeks believed they were descendants of Helen, son of the god Deucalion. The Greeks called themselves Hellenes as descendants of Helen. Sparta. The Spartans were anti-democratic and anti-progressive. Their original home was in the eastern part of the Peloponnesus region. They captured Sparta by force of arms and made their natives slaves. These slaves were called Helot. The Spartans became a warrior nation as they fought for a long time and suppressed the rebellion of the Helots. Almost all citizens were made warriors, as if the whole of Sparta was a war camp. Athens. The structure of modern democracy was created in Athens. Despite being a neighbor of Sparta, Athens provided all civic benefits to its citizens. Greece's most popular ruler, Pericles, came to power in Athens in 460 BC. This period is called the Golden Age of Athens, but the Peloponnesian states led by Sparta and the Delian League led by Athens went to war and Athens fell. Then Athens came under Sparta. Hellenic culture of Greece. Although the Greek city-states were separated geographically, they were united by religion. While thinking about the origin of man and the world, a class of rational philosophers named Sophists emerged in Greece. The famous statesman Pericles was inspired by these Sophists. The famous philosopher Socrates was killed in 399 BC by the ruling elite of consuming poison made from the hemlock vine. His student philosopher Plato wrote the book Republic and wrote another book called Dialogues of Socrates on the speech and teaching of Socrates. Playwright Aeschylus wrote two plays named Prometheus Bound and Agamemnon. Sophocles wrote more than 100 plays. Herodotus became the father of history. Hippocrates was a medical scientist. Anaxagoras suggested that the moon is illuminated by the light of the sun, and there were great men like Aristotle, Pythagoras, and Ptolemy. Hellenistic civilization. A new civilization known as the Hellenistic civilization developed in the region of Macedon in the north of Greece. King Philip II united the people of this land in 359 BC. He formed the Hellenic League, uniting the Greek powers against Persia. After Philip was assassinated, his son Alexander the Great took over Persia. Alexander died in Babylon in 323 BC when he was only 32 years old. He is known as Alexander the Great in history. After his death, the generals divided the vast empire among themselves. Hellenistic civilization also practiced a lot of science. 13. Roman civilization. This civilization arose around the ancient city of Rome in northwest Greece. This civilization survived for 600 years. Rome was settled from the Paleolithic period, but a group of people speaking Indo-European languages came to Rome in the Bronze Age. They are called Etruscans. The beginning of the Roman Empire was founded by the hands of the Etruscans. Another Indo-European speaking people settled in the northern Italy around 2000 BC. They were called Latins, and gradually their language also came to be known as Latin. Romulus, king of the Latins, founded the city of Rome. The Roman Empire went through several evolutions over time. Slaves were subjected to inhuman torture in Rome. A slave revolt led by a slave named Spartacus began in 73 BC and ended with his death in 71 BC. Since 110 BC, Rome has been involved in bloody conflicts. Various rulers emerged. The famous Julius Caesar was murdered by Brutus and Cassius. After Caesar's death, civil war broke out in Rome. At this time, Octavian Caesar, Mark Antony, and Lepidus emerged as three leaders. Later, Octavian Caesar defeated Lepidus. Antony was strengthened by his marriage to Cleopatra, the princess of Egypt, but even that was not enough. He was also defeated by Octavian. Then he became the sole ruler of Rome with the name Augustus Caesar. Greek religion also influenced Roman religion. Christianity was neglected by Roman rulers as it was customary to worship emperors as gods. Christianity became the state religion during the reign of Emperor Constantine. Virgil's epic Aeneid was written in this civilization.